guys, I'm here with SS Multimedia. Today, we're going to be multiplying multiples of 10. Our objective for today is to learn how to multiply multiples of 10 using these methods. So let's get started. First up, we have 30 times 5. So here's a few ways we could do this. We could use repeated addition first. We can use repeated addition because multiplication is basically just repeated addition. So, instead of 30 times 5, we could do 30 plus 30 plus 30 plus 30 plus 30, which is equal to 150. So we can do that, but that takes a lot of time. So instead, we could do 3 times 10 times 5, because any digit that ends with a 0 automatically is divisible by 10. That means if we divide this by 10, we get 3. So we know that 3 times 10 is equal to 30. So we can rearrange the order of this because multiplication uses the community property. So that means that instead of doing 3 times 10 and then that times 5, we can do 3 times 5 and then that times 10. So, we know that 3 times 5 is 15. And then 15 times 10 is equal to 150. Isn't that what we got up here? 150 here and 150 right there. Isn't that kind of cool? Eventually, you'll be able to do this just by looking at it. You just do 3 times 5, and then since there's a 0 here, you would have to add the 0 at the end. So let's try some more. So next up, we have 70 times 4. So we could use repeated addition again. 70 times 4 is equal to 70 plus 70 plus 70 plus 70, which is also equal to 280. You don't have to do this mentally. You can always just write it out on a piece of paper and then do it. So we know that 70 plus 70 plus 70 plus 70 is equal to 280. So now, instead of doing that, we could also divide 70 by 10, because, again, 70 has a 0 right here, so that automatically makes it divisible by 10. So 70 divided by 10 is 7. 7 times 10 equals 70. And then we can add the 4 down here, because we're doing 70 times 4. Again, we could use a commutative property and then do 7 times 4 first instead of 7 times 10, which is 70, and then multiply that by 4. 7 times 4 is equal to 28. 28 times 10 is again equal to 280, which is what we got when we added. So you can do it either way. It's really just whatever you prefer. So we're going to try some more, and you're welcome to pause this video and do it on your own. Alright, this is our next one. We have 60 times 8. Again, we could use a repeated addition and do 60 plus 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 60, which is equal to 480. Or, since, especially this one, since it has 8 numbers, it's pretty long, you can do it in an easier way. We can do 60 times 8, but we're going to simplify 60 first. We're going to divide this by 10, and then we get 6. And we know 6 times 10 is equal to 60. And we can add the 8 right here because, it's 60 times 8. Then we can use the commutative property, do 6 times 8, which is 48. And then we can put in the 10 from up here. Then we would get 48 times 10. And since when you multiply by 10, it's really only just adding a 0 at the end, it would be 480, which is what we got at the top. So it's really up to you which method you want to use, but I prefer this one because it's a lot more time, but some people like doing the repeated addition. So if you like that one, go for it. Right, we have some more to do. You're welcome to pause this video if you like and do it on your own, but I'm going to do it right now. So if you'd like to do it on your own, go ahead and pause it. If not, let's get to it. So we know that 40 times 7 is equal to 40 plus 40 plus 40 plus 40 plus 40 plus 40 plus 40, and this is equal to 280. Or we could do the multiplication again. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to divide this by 10 because it has a 0 right here, which means it's automatically divisible by 10. Then we get 4 times 10, which is equal to 40, times 7. And then we're going to do 4 times 7, which is 28, then 28 times 10, which is equal to 280, which is again what we got at the top. Let's do a few more. So we have 80 times 3, which is also equal to 80 plus 80 plus 80, which is equal to 240. And then, instead of doing this method, you can do the multiplying method. Instead of dividing by 10, I'm pretty sure you already know that 10 times 8 is 80. So you can also just write 10 times 8 times 3, because anything that multiplies by 10 automatically just adds a 0 right there. So then you can do 8 times 3, which is 24, and then 24 times 10, which is equal to 240, which is what we got at the top. It gets simpler as you do more practice, but again, practice makes perfect, so we have to keep doing that. So we have another one here. We're going to be doing 20 times 6, and 20 times 6 is equal to 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20, which is also equal to 120. And then you could also do the multiplying method, which is when we divide this by 10 or not, whichever you prefer. And then we multiply 10 times 2, because 10 times 2 is equal to 20, times 6. Then we can do 2 times 6, which is 12. And since whatever you multiply by 10, you just add a 0, you can do 10 times 12 to get 120. I have a couple more here, so we're going to go ahead and do them really fast. So, right here, I have 90 times 2. 90 times 2 is also equal to 90 plus 90. That is equal to 180. Then, we could also do the multiplying method. If you don't like this method, then you can do 9 times 10, since 90 is equal to 9 times 10, which we have proven multiple times by dividing by 10, which gets us 9. Then we can multiply that by 2, and since this 2 is right here, then 9 times 2 is 18. 18 times 10 is 180, which we got right there. One last one right here. So, this one is 110 times 4. It's a little bit more tricky, but you can do this. So, it's the same thing as before. We do 110 plus 110 plus 110 plus 110, since that's 4 110s. That would equal 440. Or we could do the multiplying method, which is when we divide by 10, right here. So 110 divided by 10 is 11, because if we can cross out these zeros right here, and 11 divided by 1 is 11. So So we have 11 times 10 times 4. And then 11 times 4 is 44. See? Right here. Then we can just bring the 10 down, and since we're multiplying by 10, we just have to add a 0 at the end. We can get 440, which is what we got up here. So you can basically do this with any number of digits as long as there's a 0 right here. You can always do repeated addition no matter the numbers, but it's a little bit more tricky, more work. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you, and bye!